What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero Build, going over the game and what they could do better and what they do well. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what your favorite game mode is, because in this match, we're going to be spectating duos. Not sure how the matchmaking for this is going to go, since I mostly just play solos. I don't know if it'll put me in like an easier lobby, since I don't play much duos. We'll see. Also, I do have limited time merch because I just hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, so it'll be on screen now. It's my logo in gold. If that's something you're interested in, the description will be in the link down. The link will be in the description down below. And like I said, the 100K merch is limited time, so if you like that, then take advantage of that while you can. I'm going frenzy this game, I guess, or fencing. God, I cannot speak. We're gonna be going fencing this game. Hopefully get into more of a chaotic off-spawn fight, and hopefully spectate some teams that are pretty aggro, because I feel like fencing is one of the more like populated POIs, especially with this plus angle. So hopefully we end up spectating a team that is like pretty aggressive, but you never know this season, because crazy stuff can happen in a really chaotic place off spawn, which is kind of how it goes. Like when you have a bunch of people landing at a POI, anything can happen. Yo, Peter Griffin, you want to trounce there? Thank you. Gonna be on board with B Smith. Does he not have a teammate? I'm like confused of whether or not I'm in duos right now, because I don't think he has a teammate. But it does say I placed 50th, so I am in duos. But I don't know what Peter Griffin, he's out here playing solo duos. Maybe we'll just spectate one of the better players. Maybe he'll just fry this lobby and come away with the dub. Did just hear a player pull out EMP grenades to his left. Gotta be careful of that. He doesn't have much shield anyway, so it's not the biggest deal. But the EMP grenades can rip your shield off. I've seen a lot of players talking about the EMPs recently. And they are good, but nothing's changed there. Like the way you could use EMPs to remove player shields and disable cars was also a thing in Chapter 4. And I believe there was also an augment in Chapter 4 that gave you EMPs every time you got an elimination. And that made that kind of like shockwave EMP spam playstyle much more like viable, because you had more EMPs coming with each elimination. That's not the case anymore, since that augment isn't in the game. The Flowberry Fizz does make it a little bit better though, because you don't have to like worry about using shockwaves to get the to get up. You can Flowberry Fizz, get the zero gravity effect, and then like jump up and throw those EMPs down at people. It also works great against cars. Not really something I use though, especially with like how the game is currently. I just don't have much room in my inventory for it. But EMPs are definitely an underrated item, and they're very annoying to play against. So the boss is basically dead here. I kind of hope this player that we're spectating gets eliminated, because they've just been looting too slowly. I think if you're in a POI like this and it's very clear the boss is getting eliminated, you want to set yourself up to like third party that fight and take advantage of that chaos. But he's just been kind of looting this one building the entire time. And so yeah, I would switch teams, but like sometimes when you switch, you just end up across the map. So like I'm hoping that like he goes and gets involved in this fight, and then we can spectate somebody over there. Like if I was them, I would want to be pushing that house or pushing the side entrance to the bottom part, and then like trying to stop them from getting in the vault. Especially as a solo duo. Like let's say you're playing here and your teammate died. I think you would really want to take advantage of this chaos, because the fact that you're at a numbers disadvantage might not matter as much if you can catch somebody off guard and get a quick knock. Or like things of that nature, He's fighting the guard. Someone just shockwave near him though, maybe up to this roof. Yeah, there's gonna be another player on this roof. I think this Peter Griffin should lose this fight. Did they just get no scope? Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Now we're on board with Doc Main Rainbow Six. Used to play Rainbow Six Siege before Fortnite came out. And they do have a teammate that's nearby them. Again, they're just trying to like clear this POI and get the medallion, I would assume. Unfortunately, he has a pump. Teammates fighting. This is so good. So you saw when he pumped that player, unfortunately his shot didn't do very much, but his teammate immediately hopped on it with the auto shotgun. And then they had basically like 2 angles on that opposing player. And that's like the biggest thing with team game modes in this game, I think. It's just getting different angles than your teammates. People often ask me like, yo, make tips on like team game mode strategies. And I have in the past, but like there's not that much to it at the end of the day. As long as you fight with your teammates and hit your shots and maybe catch different angles than your teammates, it's Fortnite is Fortnite at the end of the day. You know, it's a shooter that's not necessarily only for children, but it's a shooter that's marketed towards children. Like, it's not the deepest game in that regard. I think individual skill matters a lot. More than anything. Unfortunately for this player, though, he, like, went and pushed that guy alone. So this Gold Trooper is actually alone. His teammate is eliminated. And the player that we were spectating went and pushed that Skull Trooper on their own and gave him 2 isolated 1v1s, essentially. And that's what you don't want to do. If you have a numbers advantage on people, you don't want them to get those isolated fights. And even if it is, you know, like, they can't know that Skull Trooper doesn't have a teammate. But either way, just challenging stuff when you're alone is not the greatest. That's partially on the player we were spectating, but that's partially on their teammate as well. Obviously, we don't have comms, so we don't know if the teammate was like, yo, I gotta reload, and then that guy just ran out. Like, it's hard to say who's at fault, but I think both players are. Like, you don't want to be pushing fights alone where your teammates aren't able to help you, and then on the flip side, if your teammates are fighting without you, you want to be able to try to help them as fast as possible. In duos, you know, giving the other team isolated 2v1s is just like the easiest way to lose the game. And getting those isolated 2v1s or getting a numbers advantage is always going to be huge, and it's just like the entire meta for this season, I think, with how good snipers are. Like, we'll see as this game plays out. You know, I feel like a lot of times, a lot of fights just kind of stall out and become players trading snipes back and forth, and whoever hits the snipe first ends up winning. This is going to be hard for the Skull Trooper. So their teammate just got rebooted. There's not much they can do, and then they got into a fight. There's another team rotating in as well. And that's just kind of the downside of fencing fields at times, is it's just such a chaotic POI. He's going to leave. That's kind of the same thing like we were just talking about, but I didn't know that team was there. I don't think he did either. And his teammate just came off the respawn. That team is obviously going to be pushing, trying to eliminate them. The player that just got rebooted, it's not like they can help much in that fight either. So if I was him here, I would want to go to this gas station. So this gas station here is going to have a heal vending, and then he's going to be able to insta-heal white health, buy some big pots. Can we see his teammate on the map? We can't. But his teammate is still alive somewhere, so if he's able to heal up quick and then maybe head back towards fencing, they can definitely turn that fight. And they still have the medallion for the vault, so no one is getting into the vault. That thing that was shooting at him at that, like, factory area back there was an AI. That you don't really need to be worried about them. They could also maybe go for the radio tower. Oh, it didn't spawn here. Never mind. Or if it did, it was already taken. This is weird, though. I wish we could see his teammate on the map or, like, quickly swap to his teammate. But one of the difficulties with doing these for team game modes is, one, you don't hear the comms. So it's hard to be like, yeah, that person said this, and then that person did the complete opposite. But also, like, you can't easily swap back and forth between teammates. If I swap, I might just end up spectating somebody, like, fighting across the map, which is not the greatest. I like to follow, like, one consistent flow during this. So this guy has no mobility. The only way he lives this, I think, is if he hits a snipe. He really needs to hit a snipe here. He has no mobility to reset the fight, and he also doesn't have mobility to, like, push it if he gets a knock, because those players were pretty split, which is good for them. They have 2 different angles on the Skull Trooper, but it's also somewhat good for the Skull Trooper in that, like, when that guy got out of the car, if he just sniped him, he could have shockwaved on that, got the kill, and then he has the car, and it's a 1v1. Like, if he was fast about it, he could have basically gotten an isolated 1v1 because of the snipe. And those players being a little bit split. They're zipping up behind him. Again, he needs to hit a snipe here. Like, he's not going to get away. He has no mobility. Good. Unfortunately, that player's a riot shield. I'll try to snipe the other one. Misses the shot. His teammate is here, though. His teammate might be able to turn this, I think. Because both players are rather weak. If he hit a snipe on that... Nice. Okay, yeah, his teammate won it. If he had a snipe on that bracer, things would have been a lot easier for him. Or for them, but unfortunately missed that snipe. They're still able to turn the fight, though, just because of that snipe. And them being, like, having different angles and stuff. This area is just so bad, though. This is kind of just, like, the downside of the medallions. Like, the only reason these fights are happening, I think, is because of the medallion. Eminem wins another 1v1, but it's going to be hard for him to survive this because he is already, like, pretty weak. Okay, he wins it. And that is, you know, the fault, I think, of the team pushing. So he definitely should not have won that fight. That's GG's to him. Like, I think he definitely had to outplay them there. But that Peter Griffin, and I think it was a Crystal, the Crystal was up first. And then Eminem killed her and then had like a brief period of time to like reload before the Peter Griffin got there. They're just like a little split on timing. And that's all it takes for that, what should have been an easy 2v1 to just like not go their way. If the Crystal, I think it's the name of that skin, waited a little bit, or if the Peter Griffin had like some form of mobility to get there a little bit faster, they fight that Eminem together. The timing is going to be a little split because of how zip lines are, but just briefly, like, if you're the Peter Griffin there, say like, wait like a second or two, I'll be right there. And then vice versa. If you're the Crystal, like recognize your teammate isn't with you, wait a few seconds, and then you're there. I have a lot of people like tell me like, oh, my teammates don't listen to me at all. And like, that's rough, but it's much easier for you to play off your teammate, I think, than to convince your teammate to play off you, especially like telepathically. Like, all it takes is one sentence there and both players being willing to compromise, and they're in that game still. But because they were like a little bit split, Eminem is able to outplay that. I wish we could spectate the Eminem because they seem like the better player of the two, but like I just said, you end up like spectating across the map sometimes. Yeah, I'm not just going to be able to quickly get to him like how you would think. So now this team, I want to stay on them. Now this team is probably going to go for the vault. The entire time they've had the medallion, and pretty much everything that transpired there, I think, was because of the medallion. Like, people were eager to get it. They wanted the vault, which is like, okay to them. You can keep the medallion, but also what he maybe could have done there is drop the medallion. And when he was like going to the vending machine, the gas station, and then maybe those people wouldn't have chased as bad. His teammate, I thought his teammate died because it wasn't showing their HP. I was going to say at some point his teammate died and I do not know why. They're actually not even probably going to be able to get this because Lloyd is very weak. They need to go buy health at the vending machine that's here. Unless they have a med kit, like, I think Lloyd is like knocked to Storm here. Which, like, it's going to be fine. They can revive and heal in Storm. There's a med kit there. But I think Lloyd is too far away to get it now. That's why I'm saying he needs to go to the med kit. Or the vending. And just insta-heal. But it's okay. Even if he gets knocked to Storm, the Skull Trooper should be able to get the revive because it's only a one tick for a while. Like, it takes a very long time for Storm to hit hard. I don't know if my webcam is blocking this. I don't think it is. But it's 1 DPS still. And I think for another zone or 2, it's still 1 damage. We'll see if he keeps the medallion. I personally don't carry the medallions often in zero build because of what we just saw there. Like, they were able to outplay that situation and win, but like, just getting targeted I don't think is worth the slow HP regen and regenning up to 50 shield. Like, obviously when you have many more medallions it gets decent, but with the nerfs they made to them several weeks ago, I just think the downside outweighs the upside at this point. But he's going to hang on to it, and we'll see if that, you know, continues to get them focused throughout the course of the game. Could have been popping that medkit already because you can use the medkit and heal. Or, and move, sorry. Lloyd is on the train. I don't think this is worth going for. I think they just get white health and regain. Like, the Skull Trooper can give him a medkit, and then they can both be full health. And, okay, he just wasted a medkit. I don't know what's going on. Now they both don't have a medkit. And the Storm is, like, not... Like I said, it's weak. So, like, you're probably not going to die to Storm. But it can create a situation where, like, you're screwed over. Especially coming in like this. So, like, they were both very weak on white. Coming into zone with a medallion. If anybody was waiting here on them, then they're at a pretty big disadvantage on that fight. It's seeming like they want to get this radio tower, which I think is a good play. The key card is knocked. I wish we could spectate Lloyd because I think he's sniping at people. They are going to have different angles here, but they have no mobility to, like, help each other. And I think getting different angles in a fight is very good because it makes it more confusing for the opponents. It makes it harder for them to take cover. It also makes it harder for them to pressure you. But without any mobility, it's harder for them to, like, help their teammate. Like, if they just hopped on Lloyd when he was going on that long flank, what is the Skull Trooper supposed to do? They got opening tags, I think. Like, the Skull Trooper hit a snipe, and then I think Lloyd may have hit a snipe as well because he's pushing. But you see here, he has no mobility to help his teammate. And so that push just kind of goes nowhere. Lloyd loses a lot of health. If the Skull Trooper had shockwaves or crash pads, like, he could be in there helping, but this is just bad. Like, you need to help your teammate. Are they going to survive this fight? I don't know. I don't know how he's not dead, to be honest, because he's very weak. But that is exactly what I was talking about with not having the mobility. And I feel like with the sniper meta, people like do kind of like what the Skull Trooper was doing, where they're too fixated on getting the snipe. Whereas like if they just get there and help their teammate, you know, they can kind of bait and switch, be in immediate like vicinity to stop their teammate from getting thirsted if they get knocked, and things of that nature. But a lot of people are just like very intent on sniping, and so they don't get like pushed up in the fight, and then also they're not really outputting any pressure in that fight, because if they fought on the other side of that shack, then the M&M could have easily gone down without the Skull Trooper like having any potential to help. And even if they fought in a way where like the players were exposed to the Skull Trooper, then the entire game is like dependent on him hitting a snipe. If he misses a snipe and they kill his teammate, now he has to like fight a 2v1 where he has no mobility. Like things get rough. So I don't like that. They don't have any mobility, so it's like, you know, can't critique it too much, but I don't really know if they've passed up mobility. They chose to not get the radio tower for some reason. I'm not sure why that's the case. But if you guys don't know, if you put that key card in the radio tower, you'll get to see the next zone for the rest of the game. So they could see like, oh, zone's going to that mountain. We need to prioritize getting there, because like a zone like this is like very weird to fight, and the players who are already based up have a huge advantage. Whereas like if they know zone's going here, they could play differently. And then same with island. That island team is probably going to be a problem. There's 2 medallions there, and I would expect it to be one team with each player having medallions. Especially since it's been there for like quite a while, seemingly. But yeah, I was talking about before with the fight. Like, if you want to do well in team game modes, just be there to help your teammate in fights, and try to play in such a way where your teammates can help you in fights. That's really all it takes, and I think pressure is very important. Just the opponents getting shot from multiple directions can be hugely beneficial, but you need to be able to help your teammate as well, because like also people being present in the fight just puts more pressure on them. People shooting their AR, whether or not they're hitting shots, like puts pressure on the opponent in that fight. I think this fight is very bad for the team that I'm spectating. This is pointless, because even if they hit a headshot snipe here, they're not going to be able to get there in time to do anything about it. And if they hit a body, it's like pretty much pointless. So I don't like this at all. Like just sitting here trading snipes is rarely good. It's going to happen this season for sure. And if you're good at sniping and your teammates are good at sniping, you know, you might feel confident in that. But being on the ground and trading snipes versus island, I think is not good, especially when you have no mobility like this team. They don't have a car, they don't have shockwaves, they don't have grapple blade. Maybe the M&M does, but I haven't seen him use it. I think you just want to not take part in this at all. And then also the entire time you're doing this, you're exposed to other players potentially third-partying you. It's just like a very high-risk, low-upside fight. Unless they just headshot snipe both of them, this is not a fight they want to be in. Because I think that the player would be able to get the revive in time, especially since they don't have mobility. Like, there is rifts under the island, but, like, they don't have shockwaves like shockwave to the rift. This team rifted. It is a 2v2v2. And that's another, like, instance where snipes are rough. Like, I understand why he goes for the snipe there, but it's so all or nothing. If that duck decided to land on him and he hadn't hit the snipe, that's like that fight can go south, you know? Whereas, like, just using the AR in that situation, I feel like you're more likely to just, like, get something, like, get some amount of damage. And, like, the same thing is true when I was talking before about, like, him helping his teammate. Like, if he just uses his AR, he's probably putting out some damage in the fight. Whereas the snipes is, like, very high upside. And then also the downside is, like, you know, you hit nothing. Okay, M&M got sniped. I don't think that team on island will push. The Skull Trooper has no extra shield items. The M&M seemingly has minis. This is a good spot to be right now, I think. Like, you just don't want to be fighting here. The team on island has such a huge advantage versus you. And this team's already, like, not great as far as heals go. Just getting bodied, like, can ruin their game. Pre-nerf medallions, he could drop the medallion for his teammate there, and then the M&M would be able to heal, but, like, that's not the case anymore. He actually could drop it. The M&M, I think, doesn't have full shield. They're getting landed on. They're going to land on that house, I think, and beam them. Or they're landing across the way. I don't know what that duck is doing, actually. Never mind. I think they don't want to fight. They might be weak. But this is like what I was talking about with them fighting the island. They've gotten nothing out of it, and they've just been wasting heals and kind of being tunnel visioned on island the entire time. I think that island team will win the game, but we'll see. This team is not in a good spot. That duckling is like in the tunnel behind them too. They're pinched right now. And they don't have any mobility to like reset if they are pinched. That team from island just rifted in and then bunkered. This is bad for the team we're spectating. Are they even in the safe area though? I'm confused. Yeah, team might have bunkered in storm. I don't know why they would do that. But again, the team we're spectating, even if they hit a headshot snipe, they don't have mobility to do anything about that. And now they're so split that things can go south very quickly. I think Eminem did hit a snipe on that, and he might be able to do something with this because it looked like the other player's teammate left. I think the other player's at the bunker. Okay. So that was a just isolated 1v1, but I can understand why he took it. Because I think that one player was at that bunker and one player was at this one. So if he wins that fight and then can kill this other player too, they're chilling. But like I touched on earlier, the Skull Trooper is just not present in the fight at all, looking for snipes, and the snipes don't come, and so Eminem is dead. And now, yeah, I don't see this fight going well for them. I think the team on island just auto wins the fight now. The Skull Trooper probably needs to play kind of like low profile here, but no mobility, no bunkers. It's rough. He does have a riot shield, so maybe he can like kind of use that to stay alive. But yeah, this team just not being on the same page there, I think cost them, but it was like not really their game to win at this point anyways. He has snipers behind him too. This is like the worst possible thing he could do, but I don't even blame him necessarily because I think this game is chalked. I would be very surprised if this player wins. Somehow he got into this house. But the team on island seems like they're trying decently hard to win. GG's. I don't know where the other player was. They weren't involved in that fight. I don't know if they're flanking or what. But the player I'm spectating took quite a bit of damage. And they might be getting third-partied by that other team. That could be a situation where an isolated fight is okay, though, I think. Because if the thought process was Braden's going to stay on the roof and then stop that other team from pushing us, you kill the guy that's weak under us that we know is a solo, that I can understand. Why did it just switch who I was spectating? I don't understand. I appreciate that, though. I wish we could have been spectating Eminem. They don't have the house anymore, but that house isn't in zone, so it's fine. Shockwaves across. I don't know if the other player had mobility. I don't remember. This is a good spot to be, though. This is very good. He's not. I don't think he's in zone, but if he hits a snipe here, they win the game, I think. I don't know if they have any more bunkers. Getting that car in front of them would be nice. I think you get this car, you annoy them, and then hopefully your teammate can get a pick based on you being in the car. You're just going to go under them and basically the same thing. So if they worry about this guy that's weak, the other players should be able to get a snipe. I thought that spot was such a good spot to be, that rock, and it would have been temporarily. His teammate got a snipe. He has no mobility to help, though, but I think you just run up the hill. Just run up the hill and push that. Your teammate just got a snipe. They're probably worried about the sniper. He can just mantle up and get the kill here. And then now this... Okay. This is what I was talking about. This player is so, like, in a bad spot here. Because this player has to worry about this guy running up and then that other guy is sniping at him. Like, there's just no way he kills both of them. Even if he snipes this guy, then the player I'm spectating gets the kill. If he focuses this guy, then this guy would get the kill. He also had no mobility, so it might have been rough for him to help. But that pinch was good. This player did what they needed to do. I kind of wish we were spectating them during that, but that was an acceptable... Like, he played that very good, seemingly. Like, he hit the snipes. He didn't die while his teammate was healing and potentially, like, drawing attention from the other players. And that pinch at the end there kind of just shows, like, how effective that is, especially in this meta with snipers being so prevalent. Just getting, like, slightly different angles than your teammates can make it much easier for you to play fights. Like, if you're fighting a team, obviously you would rather them just be clustered all to one area and standing there and not spread out. But if you're spread out, you have to worry about more angles, and you also have to worry about, like, protecting yourself from more angles as well. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful, informative, interesting. I think there's the two most important things, or the most important things in team game mode is just not giving people isolated 1v1s, being active in fights with your teammates, potentially getting like slightly different angles. Like you could be close to your teammate and still get different angles in fights, and just, you know, being willing to listen to your teammates. If you're that guy that's like, my teammates never listen to me, this is crazy, just try listening to your teammates instead and playing off of them instead, because that is something you can control. You can't really control what other people do. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful, informative, interesting. Comment down below what your favorite game mode is. And like I said at the start, the 100K limited time shirt will be linked down in the description below. Thanks for watching.